Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into the thick of it with the UEFA Europa League semifinals, specifically those first leg matches from May 1st.
Yeah, that's right. We had Tottenham versus Bodø Glimt and Athletic Club against Manchester United. Big games.
Absolutely huge. I mean, this is the stage just before the final, so everything feels amplified, doesn't it? The strategies, the player performances.
Exactly. These first legs, well, they've set the scene. Give us a lot to talk about ahead of the return fixtures.
Okay, let's kick off with Spurs against Bodø Glimt then. Tottenham grabbed a 3-1 win at home.
They did, and they started incredibly fast.
Unbelievably fast. Brennan Johnson, 38 seconds in. That's got to be some kind of record, right?
It is. Fastest ever goal in a Europa League semi-final. Just bang. Incredible start.
How did that unfold so quickly?
Well, it was classic high pressing, really. Spurs won the ball back near the Bodø Glimt box. Porro whipped in a cross. Richarlison headed it back across.
And Johnson was there to finish.
Exactly. Simple as that, but devastatingly effective. Puts Bodø Glimt immediately on the back foot.
Totally changes their game plan, I'd imagine. And Spurs didn't let up much after that, did they? James Maddison made it too.
Yeah, around the 34th minute, another really well-taken goal, controlled finish.
That came from another Porro pass, didn't it? A long one this time.
It did, yeah. A brilliant diagonal ball, maybe 40 yards or so, just sliced right through the defense.
Wow. Porro was really pulling the strings in that first half.
Absolutely. His passing range was a major weapon for them. Really stretched Bodø Glimt and created space for players like Maddison.
So 2-0 up, then the third came just after the hour mark. Dominic Solanke from the spot.
Right, penalty. Foul on Christian Romero inside the area.
Looked pretty clear-cut.
Yeah, seemed like a definite penalty. And Solanke, well, he doesn't miss many of those. Very composed.
3-0. At that point, you're thinking, game over, tie probably over too.
You are. You definitely are. Felt very comfortable for Tottenham. But European football, it's never quite that simple, is it?
No, it isn't. Bodø Glimt, they actually pulled one back. Late on, too.
They did. 83rd minute.
Ulrich
Saltness. Bit of a deflection, I think. Jeffik Tyre got the assist.
And get this, apparently that was their first shot on target all game.
Incredible, isn't it? Talk about clinical when it mattered. First attempt on goal, and it's in.
So, despite Spurs dominating, what were the expected goals? Like 2.1 for Spurs, 0.9 for Bodø Glimt.
Something like that, yeah. Shows Tottenham created the better chances overall.
But that away goal, suddenly the second leg looks a bit more interesting.
Oh, massively. That goal is potentially huge. Spurs had, 19 shots? Haken made a good save from Bentancur. Blomberg missed a decent chance, too.
Yeah, they could have had more.
They could have. But conceding that late one just gives Bodø Glimt that bit of hope, that lifeline. Heading back to Norway, it changes the dynamic.
Tactically, what did we see? Spurs seemed quite direct.
Yeah, a bit more direct than usual, perhaps. Maybe using Solanke's physicality, trying those longer balls to get in behind Bodø Glimt's high line.
Made sense. And the midfield seemed solid. Bizuma and Bentancur.
Very solid. Controlled things well, kept the ball moving. I think they had almost 90% pass completion between them. Very tidy.
Though maybe a little lapse for the goal conceded. Ven de Ven.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Looked like maybe a positional slip-up at the end there, yeah. Costly one.
And Bodø Glimt, were they missing players? Sounded like it affected their usual setup.
They were, yeah. Key guys out. Berg and Evjen suspended, Bjørtuft injured. That definitely would have hampered their usual 4-3-3 system.
Disrupts the rhythm, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You could see it, especially in the first half. They had a bit more of the ball after the break, but, well, until that goal, they didn't really threaten much. Their counterattack wasn't quite there.
And performance-wise, Johnson, Maddison, Solanke, the obvious standouts for Spurs.
For sure. Johnson's pace, Maddison's class, Solanke's finish. High ratings for all three. Van de Ven may be marked down a bit for that late goal.
And for Bodø Glimt, Saltness, obviously, for the goal. Haken made some saves, too.
Yeah, Saltness got his goal, which is crucial. Haken kept the score down a bit. Heek worked hard up front, but Schivel had a tough time at the back.
Right, okay. Let's switch over to the other semifinal then. Athletic Club versus Manchester United at San Mamés.
Yep, in Bilbao. And this one finished 3-0 to Manchester United.
Wow, a really convincing away win on paper.
It looks that way, doesn't it? But there was a major incident that really swung this game.
Ah, the red card.
Exactly. Danny Vivian, Athletics defender, sent off around the 35th minute. Straight red for denying a clear goal-scoring opportunity.
Right. Before that, was it closer?
It felt much more competitive, yeah. Athletics started brightly, but the sending off just completely changed the game.
Okay, walk us through the goals. United scored first.
Yeah, Casemiro about 30 minutes in. Header from a Harry Maguire cross, actually.
Maguire assist. Interesting.
Yep. Then, just 5 minutes later, the red card incident. Vivian brought down Rasmus Højlund inside the box.
Penalty and a red card.
Oh.
Double jeopardy.
Precisely. Bruno Fernandes stepped up, slotted the penalty away. 2-0 United and Athletic down to 10 men.
That's a killer blow right there. Conceding, then losing a man straight after.
A real double whammy for Athletic. Very difficult to come back from that.
And United weren't done before halftime either?
Nope. Fernandes got his second, United's third, just before the break. Lovely bit of play, actually. Manuel Ugarte with a clever backheel assist.
Ugarte. Nice touch.
Yeah.
So 3-0 at halftime. That's commanding.
Absolutely commanding away from home.
Yeah.
Athletic had actually shown some promise early on. Iñaki Williams had a header saved. Guruzzeta went close.
But United were just more clinical.
Much more clinical. Especially after the red card. You look at the XG, United around 1.8, Athletic 0.7 maybe. Shows United really took their chances.
And tactically, how did United set up that 3-4-2-1 again?
Yeah, it seems to be their preferred shape in Europe. Fernandes and Garnacho playing off Højlund. It worked really well on the counterattack.
Using the wing-backs to stretch the play?
Exactly. They defended solidly and then transitioned quickly. Aspmyra was immense defensively, breaking things up.
And Manu alongside him. Heard he was good again.
Kabi Minanu, yeah. Very tidy, passed it really well, something like 91% accuracy. That midfield base allowed Fernandes the freedom to get forward.
Which he clearly used to great effect.
He really did. Difficult to pick up when he drifts into those spaces, especially when you're a man down.
And Athletic. Their usual high press maybe didn't work.
Well, they tried their usual 4-2-3-1, but they were missing Oyahan Sanset through injury, which didn't help.
Key creative player for them.
Big miss.
Yeah.
And then losing Vivian just ripped the heart out of their defense. They looked exposed after that. Playing over an hour with 10 men against that quality, it's just so tough.
Yeah, a mountain to climb. Who stood out individually? Fernandes, obviously, for United.
Fernandes was exceptional. 2 goals, driving the team forward. Deservedly got a really high rating.
And others. Casemiro. Manu.
Casemiro was superb. Really controlled that midfield. Manu, as we said, very composed. Onana kept a clean sheet, which is always important away in Europe. Maguire, solid too. Got that assist.
And for Athletic, anyone catch the eye, despite the result.
Iñaki Williams looked lively, always a threat with his pace. But Nico Williams maybe faded a bit. Vesga in midfield struggled. Just a difficult night all around for them after the red card.
Understandable. So, first leg's done and dusted. Let's look ahead to the returns on May 8th. Bodø Glimt versus Spurs, aggregate 1-3.
Yeah, Bodø Glimt have it all to do at home. That away goal gives them something to cling to, but overturning a 2-goal deficit against Spurs is tough.
What are the factors for Spurs? They've got the lead, obviously. Solanke's scoring form in Europe is good.
True, but they might have injury worries. Madison and Solanke maybe picked up knocks. Plus, Son and Bergvall still absent. And then there's the pitch in Bodo.
The artificial turf and the conditions up there.
Exactly. It can be a bit of a leveler. It's not an easy place to go.
But for Bodø Glimt, what's their hope based on? They need 2 goals just to force extra time.
Well, they get Berg and Evjan back from suspension, which is a boost. They rely on Grønbæk and Saltnes for goals. And their home form is genuinely strong.
They've had some big wins there this season, haven't they?
They have. Beat Twente, beat Lazio, beat Olympiacos 3-0 earlier in the competition. They know they can score goals at Aspmyra. The atmosphere will be intense.
So they'll go for it. High press.
Got to assume so. They'll try and put Spurs under pressure early. It'll be interesting to see how Spurs handle that versus looking to hit them on the break.
What's the prediction feeling like? Spurs still favorites to go through.
You'd have to say so, yeah. That 2-goal lead is significant. Spurs will likely fancy their chances of grabbing an away goal themselves, which would make it even harder for Bodo.
So maybe Bodø Glimt win on the night, but Spurs progress overall.
That feels like a pretty plausible scenario, I think. Spurs' experience might just see them through even if it's a tricky night.
Okay, and the other tie. Manchester United versus Athletic Club. Aggregate 3-0. This looks, well, pretty settled.
It looks very, very difficult for Athletic Club. A 3-goal deficit away from home at Old Trafford. That's enormous.
United are strong at home generally.
Very strong, and they've got that cushion. Fernandes is always dangerous from set pieces. Højlund offers that threat up front. They seem pretty resilient in these knockout stages, too.
And for Athletic. Need 4 goals to win outright without Vivian.
Yeah, Vivian's suspension's a big blow defensively. Their away form in Europe hasn't been great this season either. No knockout wins on the road. They were out heavily on the Williams brothers.
But if they push too hard, they risk getting caught on the counter.
That's the huge danger. United have the pace with players like Garnacho to really punish teams who leave space in behind. Athletic have to gamble, but it's a massive risk.
Any glimmer of hope? Maybe Sunset returning from injury?
Sanset's return would definitely help their creativity if he's fit, but Vivian's absence is confirmed. And United's defense has been pretty good in Europe, kept a few clean sheets.
And the history books aren't kind either, are they? Teams winning 3-0 away in the first leg.
Apparently, they've always gone through in the Europa League knockouts.
Yeah.
So precedent is firmly against Athletic.
So the prediction here is fairly straightforward. United win at home.
Yeah, you'd expect United to manage the game comfortably, probably win again at Old Trafford, maybe Athletic nick a consolation goal, but hard to see much more than that.
Right. So looking at the likely outcomes, we could be heading for an all-English final. Tottenham versus Manchester United.
It's looking increasingly likely, isn't it?
And the irony, of course, is the final being held at San Mamés in Bilbao, Athletic's home ground.
Yeah, that would be quite something. A strange twist for Athletic fans if that happens.
Adds another layer to it. And you got the different narratives. Bodo Glimt's amazing run, Athletic dreaming of a final at home.
Contrasting stories for sure. And huge stakes too. Champions League spot for the winner, UEFA Super Cup place.
Yeah, big prizes on offer. Opta probabilities even favor United slightly over Spurs to lift the trophy, apparently.
Interesting. But as we always say, it's never decided until it's decided. Injuries, suspensions, moments of magic or madness, anything can happen in these second legs.
Absolutely. Need to keep an eye on team news right up until kickoff.
Definitely.
So, to wrap up, the first legs have tilted the balance, particularly in the United Athletic tie. But Bodo Glimt still have that crucial away goal against Spurs. Plenty still to play for.
For sure. Commanding leads, but that away goal for Bodø Glimt keeps things spicy. Should be two fascinating second legs next week.
Definitely. Okay, here's a final thought for you to mull over before next week. Considering everything we've discussed, the score lines, the home advantage, the specific challenges, which team, Bodø Glimt or Athletic Club, faces the bigger mountain to climb to reach that Europa League final? Something to ponder. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.